Basically, I've only heard like half of that.
It's crazy.
So,
Yeah. Okay, so like, if I can give like a rough timeline, Ben gets involved, he finds out, he goes to the store, inquires about the Legos. He tries to figure out what's going on. Then he starts like, hey, I'm part of this award committee. Here's the award for largest Lego collection stolen by a store. And he like gives it to the person behind the counter, and then he tries to figure out a way to actually sue the business. And so what he does is, because the original owner of the Legos still technically has legal ownership, he has that person sell the Legos to 10 people, and then those 10 people go and sue Brooks and Minifigs to get the Legos back or to get the money for them. Which is kind of ingenious, because what he originally tried to do was something called claim splitting, where basically they try to break one claim into a bunch of little ones, but instead he had 10 different claims that did the same thing basically. And they won those claims, by the way, because the Bricks and Minifigs, I think, just defaulted because they just didn't respond. And so in order to get the default settlement, they had to sue them again. And that's when everything starts going like downhill, because Bricks and Minifigs is aware of, at this point, of the YouTubers who are going around and doing stuff like giving them awards for largest Lego collection stolen, or putting up merchandise using a like a facsimile of their brand saying, "We steal from old people." Bricks and Minifigs, we steal from old people, as like the subtitle. And like, just getting a bunch of like notice on what's going on. And so what happens is, since Ben now needs to go and sue them again as individuals to get the money back or whatever, or the Legos, he tries to serve the CEO, or like the not the COO, who is the guy who took over the store, by the way, because this gets real messy. The original franchisee got booted, and then the Legos just seem to have vanished. The COO is the guy who booted the franchisee and took over the store. And so he's trying to serve the COO for the default settlement. So he like goes to his house, tries to talk to him, because in order to sue them, you have to have a good faith discussion. So he goes there, tries to talk. The guy is being silent. He's just sitting there, like standing there, staring into the void, just existing nearby Ben, not interacting with him. And then the police get called. Ben gets trespassed. And then he files the trespass as, "Hey, I tried to have a talk, so this didn't work out. I've been trespassed." And then he can move forward. And now he has to serve the guy the court papers to make sure he's aware of the lawsuit. So Ben gets a process server, basically someone uninvolved.
Yeah.
He has no interaction with this person. And I think it's in Utah. Basically, a process server just has to be above the age of 18, unrelated to you or the case in any way, shape, or form, and can't be a lawyer.
Okay.
So he finds this random girl. Is like, "Okay, can you just serve this? You just need to hand this guy this papers and say you're served." And so they put out a sign on the opposite side of the street, on like an island of grass that there is between the sidewalk and the street.
Sure.
Because that's like free for people to put signs on.
Yeah, that's
so
public.
He puts a sign there. It's public, for public use. He puts a sign there that's a picture of the guy holding a bunch of money saying, "I steal from old people," then like a sad old man in a bed. Like, it's just an AI generated, random, like hacked together Photoshop picture, and it's kind of funny. But then the police roll up. The police block the sign, come talk to Ben's like, "Okay, look, I'm here to serve papers. Here are the papers. I'm just sitting here. I'm not on the property. I know I've been trespassed, so I have this process over here. And the police are like, okay, sure, that's fine. I'll get going then. And then the police come back. They go, okay, yeah, okay, fine. This is fine. Everything's fine here. You're fine. They leave. And then the police come back. And they're like, okay, well, what's going on here? Let me look at these papers. The cop takes the papers, goes to his car, calls the court, finds out it's an actual legal case that exists. So he knows it's real and legit. It's not some fake case, because he's been getting told some bullshit by the COO because he keeps calling the cops on him. He goes back to Ben and says, okay, fine. This is a real case. Here are your papers back. I'm leaving. Have a good rest of your day. And then the police come back, talk to Ben. This other cop, because at this point, there have been like 8 officers that have interacted with Ben, because there's not just one cop that shows up at a time, it's like 2. So at this point, there have been 8 cops' time wasted this entire day talking to Ben, saying everything's fine, and then leaving. So this like 4th or 5th time, they take the papers. They're like, okay, let's just go see. Can I serve these for you? Can I just go talk to him and see if he wants these? And he's like, yes, please. The cops have just offered to serve the papers, which is fine to do if you're having a bad interaction with somebody and you want like a cop present. You can have the cop present. Like you can just request that. It's
but like he had someone already.
It's not a good use of the time. Yeah. And by the way, the cops, this cop here, the last one, is like questioning whether or not the person he has there to serve the papers is like the correct person, because he's like, oh, this is a process server. Yeah, I just met her. The cop's like, okay, but can you get somebody who's not involved with the case? He's like, yes, this person right here who I've just met today is uninvolved. She is the exact person you were describing. And the cop's like, well, but can you just get somebody you don't know? And it's like, yes, this is the person that you're describing. It's really kind of back and forth, and it's just the cop being belligerent about it on purpose, obviously, because, you know, this is like the 4th interaction he's had with the cops today. Well, at that day. So the cop's like, okay, fine. Can I just take these? Can we just end this? I'll go talk to the guy, see if he wants the papers.
It's not up to him whether he wants the papers.
No, exactly. It's not up to the guy to get the papers.
Well, no. I just mean
cop has to do
that what you just said. See if he wants the papers. It's not.
Yes,
that's not a decision he gets to make.
The cop says. Yes, the cop specifically says, "Let me go see if he wants the papers, or whatever this is." The cop then goes to the COO, who's like sitting on his porch, going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! This has been happening to me." He's really hamming it up. You know, it's kind of obvious he's hamming it up. So the cop's just holding his papers. He's like, okay, well, they're here to give you these papers. Do you want them? You know, this is like the 4th time we've been called out here. Can we just get this over with? Can you just accept these or not? I don't remember if he says accept these or not, but basically, one, the cop doesn't show him what the papers are. He just like holds them like half folded in one hand. He doesn't hand them to him. The guy says he doesn't want them. In fact, at one point, the guy's like, "Oh, well, can I just take a peek at them?" And the cop's like, "Oh, no, you know, it puts me in a weird position." And then the CO is like, "No, they're fake anyway. Don't show them to me. Don't show them to me." And then basically the interaction ends with the cop holding the papers like 4 feet away from the guy, not giving him the papers, not telling him he's served, and allows the guy to just not receive them, which is insane. Because all he has to do is say you're served and drop them on the ground, and then it would be over. Then he brings the papers back to Ben, says he doesn't want the papers, and Ben's confused because the cop just told him he would go serve the papers. Obviously, he can just hand the papers. And while the cops are like figuring out what's going on, seeing if they're going to leave right now, one of them just okay, get out of the car, and just arrests Ben. Just straight up just arrests him on the spot for no reason. Utterly insane. Anyway, I see you're at a side story section. I can continue it after this.
You know what? Now I'm like, what is
You're
going on
invested?
there? I'm gonna go look for another barrel feline.
Okay, that's fine. So Ben gets arrested. Originally, bail is denied, or bond is denied, and the judge reviews it in the morning, allows bond. Ben bonds out, and now he's out of jail for whatever reason, because the cops obviously just arrested him for some bogus bullshit. Utterly insane. So at this point, Ben can't serve the papers because the guy's being protected by the cops, essentially. So he's like, okay, well, what do I do now? And let me see if I can recall what happens next, because it's insane. Oh, I did forget a part. So originally, when they were trespassed, no, it was before then. There's so much chaos going on in this situation. At some point before this interaction I was just talking about, Ben is driving by. Like, he's having a friend of his drive him like through the street to see if the CEO is home so he can talk to him. And there's cops already there, because what happened is they went to the Bricks and Minifigs office first to see if he was there. Then they went to his home to see if they could talk to him. The police were at the guy's home, and so they just drive by. They're like, okay, well, this has clearly gone like off the rails, so we're just gonna leave. The cops, one of the cops trails Ben's car, the car he's in, by the way. You don't know he's in there. He just is some other random guy driving. They stop at a stop sign, and you can very clearly tell they stopped, because on the police dash cam, they stopped at the stop sign. Like, the car did like the little jolt showing it stopped. Then he turned the corner, and then the police pulls him over. And he's like, okay, what's going on here? Can you roll it on the second window? Hey, Ben, how do you like it here in Utah? How does the cop know Ben's there? It's because he was looking for him. They were looking for Ben by name. So anyway, that's a weird interaction. Right. Later that day, they get pulled over again, and then have a 3-hour car search because the police heard that they had drugs on them at some point or something. So they tear his car apart for 3 hours and then call a drug dog, and nothing's found. They run him through the sobriety field tests. The guys offer, like, they're all offering, like, the driver's offering to do all of the drug tests, like the blood test, the urine test, or whatever they need to do to get it done to make sure, you know, they know he's not doing drugs. But the police are not there to find out if he has drugs or not. They're there to bother them and to threaten them and to menace them. So the police don't actually want to do any drug tests, even though he's offering to do them. They're like, oh, but you know, you're walking a thin line here. You know, you just gotta be careful. You know, there are people riding in your car. You don't know what they have. They might have like meth. They might have like some other crazy stuff. You know, you gotta be careful. And the guy's like, well, I can take a drug test right now if you want me to. And he's like, no, you're walking a thin line here, buddy. Utter insanity. Because it's obvious the cops don't want the truth. They don't want to do their jobs. They're just here to menace him. So anyway, that happens before the whole serving incident.
Okay.
Then what happens is, after the whole serving fiasco, they're trying to figure out what they can do now, because the police are protecting the COO from being served. So they're like, okay, we're gonna make a GoFundMe. They make a GoFundMe saying, hey, if you want to support Brian Mansell, the guy who owns the Legos, you know, you can donate your money here. We'll make sure he gets the money. This is also to cover living expenses and all that stuff because, you know, he's been taking care of his sick dad, and basically he was trying to sell the Legos to, you know, be able to stay home and take care of his father, is my understanding.
Uh-huh.
And so they set this GoFundMe. They go to try to advertise the GoFundMe by putting a sign up on a fence and then taking a picture and then putting it down. But the police show up where they're putting the sign up on the fence. It is my understanding that they are putting the sign up on the fence near the COO's house, probably just to bait him into an interaction. That is my understanding of the situation. So they're doing everything completely legally. They're not going to the guy's house. They're just nearby. The cop shows up. Okay, you're fine. Everything you're doing is fine, but we're just going to take the sign. And so the cop just swipes the sign that they were trying to take a picture with. Oh, and by the way, the police during this entire time have been muting their body cams, like actually muting them physically. So a lot of what their interactions have been suspicious. Is irrecoverable because it doesn't exist. Ben then requests the body cam footage for a couple of these interactions, and lots of chunks of them have been muted by the police department. Not by like the physical muting of the body cam, but like by the police department redacting the information. But they forgot to redact one of the body cams from one of the cops at one of the interactions, so he can line them up and then put the footage together to figure out what they were talking about. And it was obviously something that they should not have redacted, because there's no information about any case or like personal information or anything. It's just them talking to each other about what they're doing to Ben and like what's going on. So they're obviously redacting something that shouldn't be redacted. They've been doing this the entire time, by the way.
Down to barrel, Felyne. Let's go.
Oh, nice. And so it just looks so bad on the cops.
Yeah. When does it?
It looks really. It just looks so bad on the cops. Got them. Rescue cats from themselves because they got themselves stuck in something. They thought they could sit, but they did not fit.
What a win!
Well done, everyone.
Nice.
How much experience am I gonna get? Yep. Thousands.
Nice. Nice.
Thousands
Tell
of
me to find another one.
experience. What level am I now? 20. Still 20, but almost 21. Yeah, that's Sparrow Felines.
Yeah, so they took the sign. The police left with the sign, so they're like, well, I guess we can't take a picture now, so they leave. Yeah, so the police have been redacting things, acting weird. Really weird. Very weird.
My question is, after all these interactions, why didn't they assume something like that would happen and just have another sign?
Yeah, I know. At this point, I was surprised they didn't have like 4 signs. Yeah. like at this point, I would expect them to have 3 signs. Have the police confiscate all 3 signs, even though they tried to put up 1. Like, have them search the car, find 3 signs, take all 3 signs. And then have to request their friend come in with backup signs in a different car. At this point, I would completely expect something like this to happen. So now they're chilling at their Airbnb, trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And then the police raid them with guns drawn on a search warrant, and then arrest 5 people with just a search warrant and not an arrest warrant, which is insane. And apparently it's due to the fact that the Airbnb owner, who apparently one of the cops has had an interaction with and gone drinking on a bar before, because he remembers them because the Airbnb owner has a golden deagle.
Uh-huh.
So obviously there's some sort of like weird interaction going on. The Airbnb owner apparently heard through some surveillance that's in the Airbnb, which is sus in itself, that they were talking about stolen Legos. So now the police have filed, oh, Ben has the stolen Legos. We're going to go raid him and look for the stolen Legos. So they raid him with like 8 cops, guns drawn, arrest everyone there, including a minor, over some bullshit lying about stolen Legos that allegedly Ben has, apparently. And it's just, it gets worse and worse and worse. Like the police are doing some crazy shit, some crazy shenanigans at protecting this random business owner who clearly has some weird stuff going on with some Legos that they either misplaced, stole, or sold and didn't pay out the consignment deal.
Yep.
At this point, Ben gets bonded out. He starts posting his videos, and he goes on a trip to Mexico. He just leaves the country. I'm in Mexico now. What's going, like, I'm just gonna be here in Mexico, have fun trying to get me here, because there's some crazy shit going on. That's all the big interactions the police have had with him so far that we know about, because the 3rd episode or the 3rd video is not yet posted. So we'll see if there's more. But that's all the interactions with the police that we, like I said, we know about. There was a weird interaction where the police sent someone to Ben's house in LA because Ben lives in LA, and his roommate answered, and the cops like, well, he passed a message to Ben like, we have a warrant for his arrest. Like, that was weird. Real strange goings on.
For what?
That's a great question. I don't know if we know about that one. I forget if it was LA, if it was like in Utah at the Airbnb. But either way, crazy stuff. Since that interaction, the like police commissioner or like the captain or whoever it is that leads the police department puts out a video on like Twitter talking about it, and his volume is like minus 20,000 decibels for some reason. So you have to like boost him up like really high to hear him. And he's talking about the interactions, and he just straight up lies. Because he says that Ben doesn't come to a complete stop. And so that's why they pulled him over in the interaction, but you can tell on the dash cam that he did come to a complete stop. So the police guy, the leader guy, is just straight up lying. Yeah, it's bad. And so why this is an issue and why this is even happening. So the consignment deal that Brian Mansell had with the franchisee is apparently, the corporate office is saying, is illegitimate and was invalid. And even if that, when they took the location, they acquired all of the merchandise that was inside the store, like clean and like fair and square, which is not quite correct. Yes.
Question: if the deal was invalid, then that's not your merchandise?
Yeah, and so they have goods that don't belong to them. They should give them back. Yeah, it's it's real weird that they're like, it's an invalid deal. Oh, and by the way, even if it was invalid, we just acquired everything in the building, so it's ours. Which is weird. And I think at some point they said that they weren't aware of the consignment deal, which is strange because when they...
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're not unaware of the deal and also it's invalid. That's not saying
Yeah,
it's
so
invalid
they're-
means you're
they're
aware of the deal
claiming-
and you've reviewed it.
Yeah, so at some point they tried to say that they didn't know what was going on and it was an invalid deal made by the franchisee without the knowledge of the corporate like leadership.
Then return
Yeah.
the goods or their stolen
goods.
property. What?
Yeah. But when they kicked out the franchisee and took it over, she specifically tells them that she owes money to this guy, Brian Mansell, and she is printing like receipts and stuff so that she can keep track of what was going on. So she's telling the guy to his face that she owes money and that there's this consignment deal, and he's like, yeah, we'll sort it out, get out. Baffles my mind that they're even trying to pull this. So it's like the original number, by the way, for the total stolen Legos was $200,000, but that was an inflated highball price for the total merchandise for a press release that did when they first acquired the stuff on consignment. The original, like the actual total of total merchandise is about like $110,000, which CoffeeZilla found out, which Brian Mansell is still owed like a consignment portion of 80,000. So he's only been paid for like 30,000 of the Legos. So there's like an 80,000 outstanding amount of money that needs to be consigned and paid to him for the total merchandise, which is still, it's still a lot.
Wait. How much of that was paid out before the new company took over?
Okay, so of the total merchandise, 110,000, a total of 30,000 was paid to him with the consignment portion, basically. Like,
okay, but
I forget
when,
if his consignment was like 60.
When was
prior
that paid?
to them being booted.
Okay.
Prior to the franchisees being booted and the store being transferred in ownership, he was only paid for about 30% or 40%, which is strange. But
I mean, that part
it's
on its
weird,
own
but
seems
this point-
fine, right? Pay it out as it sells, I guess. But
that was the original deal.
yeah, so that part's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. What?
Yeah, it's weird. Corporate also has said that the COO arrived in a rental car, which, by the way, CoffeeZilla heard from, because CoffeeZilla is the guy who found this portion out. He heard from the Gordons, who were the franchisees who got booted, that there was a U-Haul truck there. He heard from corporate that there was no U-Haul truck, there was a rental car. CoffeeZilla went through the pictures that were provided to him by both the Gordons and corporate, and he did find a U-Haul truck in a window reflection at the time that they said there was no U-Haul truck. And then the corporate changed their story, said that he had a U-Haul truck there because he had a trailer, like a camper trailer or something, and he couldn't tow it with the car he originally had, so he had to go get a U-Haul for it because it had a trailer hitch or whatever. Which is a really, really strange thing to lie about. Right? That just seems weird to lie about.
If there was a U-Haul there, say there was a U-Haul there.
Yeah.
Why are we changing
Why
our
the U-Haul
story
matters
after-
is apparently a employee of a different bricks and minifigs under the management of the COO got a delivery of product that included some Star Wars pieces at the day that this store got taken over. So what seems to have happened, at least according to the story, is that the COO took the product from that store that just got transferred ownership and brought the product to a different second store to hold, because basically there wouldn't be any employees or anyone at the one who just transferred ownership the store.
Okay. Seems reasonable enough on its face.
But apparently the logs of the U-Haul truck, like return and like mileage and stuff, doesn't quite add up there. This is the U-Haul truck that they lied about not having in the first place, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So things don't add up. It's really weird and sus.